So I'm thinking of trying something a little bit different where I express some thoughts and feelings. I was gonna do it on film and then I thought, no. So I'm just gonna try something here. This isn't anything special. This is I don't know, like an unconscious rant about anything. Um, this hasn't got a name. This hasn't got a feature. This has no aim. This is I guess if we're going to use like modern terms, we'll use this as like a form of therapy where we just sit and we talk. I say we, I sit and talk about something that's on my mind. And if you choose to, you will listen to it. Um, so thank you very much for lending me your ears for however long I talk. Ideally, this won't be long. This will be just something quick and short. And I feel like I should maybe start with the most prevalent thing that's been on everybody's mind since, oh, well, let's say April of 2023, and it was cake, Drake versus Kendrick. Um, and I just wanna say that I find it really interesting to see how people have reacted to something that seemed so obvious at the time. Two very different characters from two very different standpoints with varying skill levels. One of them being known as one of the best writers of all time, and someone else who was known to have hired help when creating some of his biggest songs. Um, Now, I don't know from where I stand if we're talking about somebody's talent. Please note I said somebody's talent. So we're referring to as the talent of one person. And then we put that talent up against somebody else's talent. We should then only look at the talent that that person brings to the table. And if in any aspect the talents of one of those people is clearly lacking, to which they need support, I don't know why we're continuing to count them. It's like you could be the fastest Paralympian ever, right? And whatever it is, you could be the fastest Paralympian ever. It's not fair to put you up against an able-bodied Olympian. Maybe some of the Paralympic devices you use give you an advantage. Maybe some of the rules in the game are changed for you. Now, my issue is if we know that there are clear cut advantages or disadvantages towards one person's skill set, then they should be discounted from a conversation. I say all of that to say, I don't know why we thought that Drake would win. Um, and if we did think he would win, I don't know why we'd even class it as a real win because it would be evident that he had support in what he did. Now, did he come out and do well? Yeah, 100%. Family Matters was very entertaining. I do feel like the second verse of it was some of his best work, but then that was also UK drill Drake, which means to me there was some UK drill artists that helped him with what he was doing. I think the best verse in that song would have been the third verse, which was very Drake, melodic, catchy. You could sing along to it without even trying. Like, yeah, that was really good. It was nothing compared to Euphoria, in my opinion. Um, in addition, the tailor made freestyle, take it or leave it, or whatever. Um, I didn't need it in my life, but yeah, creative, interesting, great antagonizing tool. Like if we was gonna refer to something as like a taunt, Tailor Made Freestyle is potentially the best taunt in his hip hop history because it did exactly what he wanted to do. It made his opponent come out swinging with no holds bars, none. Uh, it created exactly what it needed to create. Um, Now I've gone on a while about that, and I've already clarified it to me that Kendrick won, and I said he's won before I've even spoke about Meet the Grahams or Not Like Us, which I mean, biggest hip hop diss track of all time, I guess now, um, and everything that came after that, great. I feel like what I've really noticed from this thing is what reporting has turned into with everybody, and oops, I guess I'm now included in this, with everybody having the ability to put their 2 cents in, we're losing we're losing restraint, we're losing accountability, we're losing objectivity, and we're gaining a onslaught of bias. And I don't know if the bias purely comes from algorithms because algorithms are not helping either. Because I remember a time when you know, when you was looking at the news, if you typed in a particular thing, whether it be on the internet or if you listen to the radio, Radio One's views would be different from Kiss FM's views. MTV's views would be different from BET's views. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Fox is different from CNN. Now we're just in a world of algorithms where you could go on YouTube and type in a thing, and because you have listened to 27 Drake songs in the last month, it's going to give you a Drake biased view of people's opinions. And the same thing for Kendrick. You're going to get a Kendrickized view of what people think. Which leads to me realizing that there are a lot of people claiming to be neutral when they're not. And there are other people who we all forget are actual people and their thoughts, opinions, views, mindsets are based upon them being the people that we know them to be. Um, well, not even who we know them to be, but who they actually are. So let's say like DJ Academics would be um, no disrespect, because I am also of Jamaican heritage, right? He is a fat Jamaican immigrant in America, right? So, as somebody who'd be seen as like an immigrant, understanding that you want to fit in, okay, um, you're also big, so you know that would be something people would make fun of you from. Your accent would be something people make fun of you for. Um, you have the word DJ in your bio or in your name, but we've never heard you play records as this part of your career, which would mean that you're failed at something. So I can see that you don't take failure very well because you always wanted to have that accolade. You really value fitting in because you tried your best to fit in a culture. We've watched you from years from being in your room to getting on, you being in your room talking about things that didn't actually concern you, but things that you was enamored by. He was very entertained. He was drawn to uh, the war in Chirac. He was brought by gang violence, shootings, drill music. You really were entertained by it, to the point where you started talking on it, and then you've now worked your way into being a mouthpiece or someone who we look to for an opinion. And then you had to prove yourself again in all those rooms that everyone was saying that you're just a nerd from your bedroom and you're not even of the culture. And I find it weird when Americans say you're not black because you clearly are black. Just say you're not black American, because respectfully, black Americans don't necessarily know who they are or where they're from. And I feel like other black people from outside of America, and I mean this from pretty much every other country outside of America, they know where their heritage lies. We all know we come from Africa, but we all understand a heritage, you know, a Caribbean country, an African country, whether even if it was European. So even if, like, I live in England and I would say that I was British because I'm not English, because that's a whole nother thing, but I would say I'm British born Jamaican, right? I was born in the UK. My family are from the Caribbean. I have very strong allegiances to the Caribbean, and if I could, I would go back and live there. Not Even though I know that to be a fact, that doesn't take away the fact that I know that before that, there is a very, very, very strong chance that I am from either Nigeria, Ghana, or one of the West Coast countries of Africa. Cool. Say all that to say that seeing DJ Academics cope, work so hard to say things that we can clearly see aren't his thoughts and feelings is really interesting. And that's the same for him. That's the same for Mar of Rory and Mar podcast. It's really interesting. And it's even more interesting to see smaller channels pop up now um, that react to him reacting to things that he heard. Like, I find it really interesting that we all react to things that we've seen and reacted to, then watch somebody else react to it, then react to the person reacting to it. And it's all reactive. And I'm like, so where is the creation? Like, all we're doing is creating content based on recycled opinions from people that think somewhat like we do because we saw it on an algorithm that was fed to us by things that we had looked up that we may not even have cared for when we first looked it up, but we looked it up because we heard something that made us want to look it up. Do you see how cyclical that is? Like, we're just in a cycle of regurgitated ideas. So when do we do something new? Now, I remember when I first started this, I said, I don't know where I'm going to go. It's going to be a friend. I kind of thought I'd only be doing this for like 5 minutes. It is now 13 minutes. And I think that's enough of hearing me talk about nothing. Thank you.